John Hook's Newsmaker starts now.
Thanks for joining us for Newsmaker. As you all know, a much anticipated border bill was defeated in the U.S. Senate this week. Senate Republicans ultimately said it didn't go far enough to secure the border. But a guy who's been one of the biggest critics on the lack of border security under President Biden thinks Republicans should have passed that bill. Brandon Judd is the president of the National Border Patrol Council. That's a union representing 18,000 border agents. Brandon joins us live by telephone right now. Brandon, you're on the telephone because you're in Washington still trying. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. We're never going to give up. We're going to try to get the provisions that we need. We want it codified in the law so that it ties bad administration's hands and enhances what good administrations can do. So we can't rely on executive order and executive order only. We've got to get something in law.
Okay. You know, there's an old saying, don't ever allow the perfect to become the enemy of the good. In other words, in this case, the bill wasn't perfect, but you think it was good.
There were an awful lot of good things in this bill that should have been considered. And the reason we supported it wasn't that everything in the bill was great. What we wanted to do was we wanted it to go to the floor for debate, go through the amendment process, keep the good, get rid of the bad. But if you don't even let it go to the floor for debate, if you shut it down immediately, then you're never going to get anything out of it. But when you look at the things that were in there that were fantastic, first and foremost, it raised the bar for credible fear standards. And if you raise the bar for credible fear standards, you're not going to be releasing people. There was a provision that said that all adults that were traveling without children would be held in custody. It removed the judicial process from everything. So this backlog that we have in the court systems, it removes the court systems and leaves it in officers' hands to determine whether or not somebody is admissible. So that would trigger an immediate removal. There were so many good things in this bill that could have increased border security. But like you said, it wasn't perfect. By any stretch of the imagination was it perfect, but there were too many good things in here to ignore.
How do you respond, Brandon, when people on the right, Republicans, say, look, we don't even need this stuff. Enforce the laws on the books, and President Biden could stop this right now if he wanted to?
I think that Congressman Chip Roy, who's one of the most conservative individuals in all of Congress, member of the Freedom Caucus, I think that he said it best. He talked about the migrant protection protocols. And by the way, that was transformative. That was the best policy that I had seen in my 25-year career. But it was strictly dependent upon Mexico agreeing to it. So at any point, Mexico could have just said, no, we're not agreeing anymore. In fact, Mexico did that under the MPP. There were certain times that they wouldn't take people back. Under Title 42, in certain locations, they wouldn't take people back if they were from certain countries or if a number got too big. So, you know, we can't be dependent upon another country. And these executive programs would have been dependent upon the Mexican government. We can't do that. So, yes, we have to get laws. The way that we completely put this behind us is if we pass laws. Legislators need to legislate.
You're talking about tightening up largely right now the asylum claims. In other words, anybody here coming across claiming credible fear, it's like a free pass into the country.
It is, and that's what we're looking at doing. What we've got to do is we've got to end that magnet, the catch and release. Anytime we release people into the country illegally, people are going to continue to come. But the only way to do that is to have a mechanism to send them back. Our laws allow people to claim asylum. And by the way, unlike other developed countries, our laws require people to actually come to the United States. Even if they cross the border illegally, they can still claim asylum, but our laws require them to be in the United States to claim asylum here. But what we have a right to is if they inundate the system and there's nowhere to hold them, and if the court systems are backed up for 7 years, which is what they're at right now, then you ultimately end up releasing these individuals. And those are the things this law would have tightened up. It would have fixed an awful lot of this. Again, not all of it, but an awful lot of it. And if you fix an awful lot of it, you decrease the illegal border crossing.
So what do you think was ultimately the hang-up with Republicans? Is it just politics? They want it as an issue in November? Was President Trump putting his thumb on the scale and saying, don't pass this, let's wait till I'm elected? What was going on?
I think a lot of it had to do with House Resolution 2. that the Senate never put that bill up by itself. Yes, the Senate put it up as an amendment, and they took out E-Verify, but they never put it up as for a vote on the complete package and as a standalone by itself, as passed by the House. So you got to remember, the House passed a bill, and the Senate never took it up. And so the Republicans are saying, well, look, if you're not going to take this up, why are we going to take this up? I think that's the major hangup. I think that if they would have put H.R. 2 up for a vote and it failed, I think that that would have changed a lot of senators' minds.
That's really interesting. Okay. I want to know, how much were you guys consulted in the crafting of that bill? In other words, if I'm Kirsten Sinema, I want to hear from people on the ground who do this work every day. Were you involved in these negotiations, at least telling them what you needed?
We were not, but we didn't need to be. Sinema and I have spoken extensively. Senator Langford and I have spoken extensively. They knew exactly where we stood. They knew exactly what we needed. So we did not have to be involved. And if they would have involved us, they would have had to involve other people. You can't just pick and choose what group you're going to involve without upsetting an awful lot of people. And so the fewer people, the better chance that you would have gotten to a resolution. You know, 4 months sounds like a long time to craft a bill. 4 months is actually a very quick time to craft a bipartisan bill. And so they needed to keep as many groups out, but they already knew what the groups wanted. They knew where I was coming from. They knew what I thought needed to be in there. And so they were negotiating from that baseline to begin with. Okay.
The biggest hang-up seemed to be this trigger, the trigger authority called the Border Emergency Authority. And you think it's been really not well reported on, that there was a lot of smoke on that. This is the 4,000 coming in daily, and that triggers this authority to shut the border down. Tell me what your issue was with that.
The automatic trigger is actually 5,000, but administration could lower it to 4,000 at their discretion. What really upsets me about this is the dishonesty behind that. What everybody is saying is they're saying, well, this normalizes illegal immigration at the level of 5,000. That's not true. And if you use that metric, well, then you have to look at the month of December, where our current laws normalize 10,000 illegal apprehensions that took place. We have averaged, since Biden has been in office, we have averaged 7,000 apprehensions per day since he has been in office. So if you're going to say that, well, this normalized 5,000, well, then our current laws have already normalized as many as 10,000. And our current laws will normalize as many people as the cartels can push across the border. It's not true. All this was a trigger to shut down the border. And by the way, there is no trigger in our laws right now. Yes, a president can use emergency authority, but he has to do that on a case-by-case basis. This law would have put in an automatic trigger, something that we don't have under our current law. So, yeah, it's been completely and totally misconstrued, and I believe that it was done on purpose.
Brandon, on this entire issue, you've watched it for many years now. You endorsed President Trump, correct?
I did, yes, absolutely.
And I
still support President Trump.
You will again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Even after all this,
for this country for policy.
Even after all this,
look,
okay.
We can have a policy disagreement. Everybody should have. There should be robust debate on anything. There should not be yes men in anything. We shouldn't be going along with one person on every single thing. But when you look at what he was able to accomplish, when you look at the policies, when you look at what our economy was doing, we were all much better off under President Trump. Of course I would endorse that.
Okay, Brandon, one more thing. You said you're in Washington right now. That's why you're on the phone and not with us, in video. Is there still some hope that something could get done this year?
There is. Yes. There's absolutely. Here, if I didn't think there was, there's still a great many people that think that something can get done. Whether it gets done, that's a different story. But there are people that think that something can get done.
Do you think it's best to take border out away from Ukraine and Israel and have it as a standalone?
I think at this point, because the Senate just passed their Ukraine funding. I think that that's most likely going to pass the House. I think that that ship's already sailed, so it's going to have to be a standalone. If the House does not pass it, then no, I think that it should be tied together because that gives leverage. That gives a sense of urgency, and we have to have that sense of urgency to get things done in Washington, D.C.
I'm going to let you get back to work, my friend. I appreciate it. Brandon Judd,
thank you
president of the National Border Patrol Council. We appreciate it, Brandon. Thank you. Coming up next on Newsmaker, the FBI special agent in charge on the border, crime, and accusations that the FBI has become too political. Akil Davis is next on Newsmaker.